everyone, welcome back to the Creator Shelf, and you're joining me on a dry, cold evening in Brussels. Yes, the rain has held off. But before I disappear for the evening, I thought it'd be good to leave you all with a tarot challenge. And yes, you've guessed it from the title. I am thinking of bucket list, I am thinking of 2022, and I am thinking of a tarot bucket list. So, as you probably all know by now, a bucket list is basically kind of like things that we've always wanted to do. It was always geared, I think, towards kind of like if you're approaching perhaps an end of life situation, but it doesn't have to be, right? It can just be things we've always wanted to do, and things we want to do before we die, kind of thing. But I think today people generally are like, let's just start doing those things on the list now. And I thought it'd be good to have one for tarot slash, it doesn't have to be tarot and oracle specifically, it can be like witchy or art or just something within the sphere of reflection, healing, looking at our energy, our vibes, finding time to have respite, but also times to rejuvenate. So yeah, it's that kind of thing. So, you can adapt this as you wish, but I thought I would do like a tarot bucket list because there are always things that I've wanted to do, but I kind of like put them off or I kind of like stray away from them. So I've kept it simple. It is just 5 prompts, very, very clear. I will list them below. You can add your own if you wanted to, but that's how it works. And also, to make it kind of like tarot and oracle related, you will need a deck. You can just pick whatever you want. You can mix it up, a tarot and an oracle deck if you want. And it doesn't have to be too strict. The interesting thing is that I have been thinking of kind of like returning to the questions some way next year. So it will be interesting, perhaps, like, if you make a note of like what you find, what you think of, what you journal about, what you list, or your VR to this, or even if you're just leaving a comment below, you don't do YouTube, it doesn't matter. But to return to this exercise midway next year. So that's how I'm thinking. So the first thing on my tarot prompts, I can't speak today. The first thing on my list, I'm that excited, is a deck that I really want to work with, but I kind of like, I'm just putting myself off from. Now, it might be because of the aesthetic. It might be because it's kind of like a system that I don't understand. It's too complicated. It could be because it's a system that just, it's off-putting. Like, I don't know, I don't want to work with pip stuff. Or it can just be kind of like, for me, the one that comes to mind actually when I think of this is that I'm not great with the whole astral deck thing. Now, I think they're beautiful. I've seen loads. I think they're gorgeous. The indie ones, the mass market ones. I know Hay House does like things like Starseed and Work Your Light, and all of those look really, really gorgeous. But there's something about it that doesn't click. And I love astronomy. I love astrology. I watch Brian Cox and repeat, basically. But I'm not syncing with those decks. However, I saw one of my favorite tarot tubers, hopefully I get the name right, Saturnarium. Yes, lady, I am stalking you. I saw her using, I think it was the moon chart, I can't remember, and just working with it, and I was really intrigued. I was like, okay, there's something maybe that I'm missing. So I'm kind of like going to do a leap of faith and get one of those decks. I don't know which one yet. Sorry, that's the cat messing around. I don't know which one yet, but get one of those decks and just try it next year. And I want to give it time. So I don't want to get it like in January and be done with it in March or something. I really want to see kind of like, how does it like pan out over the course of at least a year. And I think that's a fair way because the seasons change as well. So maybe the deck works differently in the summer than in the autumn, or I don't know what. So this is where we get a tarot deck and we use it for these prompts. The one that I'm going to be using for this video is the Light Seers. For some reason, I think this is a good deck when I'm going to be pulling cards in front of the camera and you're all going to be sitting there going, but the question that I want to ask the tarot deck, that I want to ask, the deck is, what is the energy that either I need to kind of like be cautious of, or will help me as I work with like my prompt. So basically the prompt is picking a deck that I normally would not go for. And I'm asking this because, for example, I can be someone that's quite pessimistic sometimes, or I can be somebody that's quite wary, or I can be from the beginning kind of like, no, this is not going to work for me. And so I think it's good sometimes to ask a deck, like, help me to see what should I take note of as I attempt this bucket list item. So on camera, I'm shuffling here with you all. And oh my God, it popped out. Queen of Emotions. That's what's popped out for me for this prompt. So perhaps the deck is telling me that as I approach this particular challenge, I need to think about my emotions. I need to think about being able to contain those emotions, not get overly kind of like sad or too kind of like, I don't know, wishy-washy over this whole thing. I think the Queen of Cups, I mean, like, I think, what do they call it? Resting bitch face? On the Rider-Waite-Smith. I am a Scorpio, so Scorpio sun. So this is a really good card for me. It's also reminding me actually, and I think the Queen of Cups also reminds me of very Piscean energies. So yeah, maybe the deck that I will be working with will help me with those energies. Maybe it's for me to allow the deck to help me with my emotional side in that sense. So I'm going to make a note of this as I pull this on camera, so I can't do everything at the same time. But this is the card that I need to be, these are the energies and the flow maybe that might be helping me, but I also need to be, mindful of as I approach the challenge. Okay, so that's prompt number 1. Okay, so I will put this back in the deck, actually, that makes a lot more sense. And think of prompt number 2. So prompt number 2, again, it's a little bit different, is to work on a topic or a theme that, again, I have been not really getting round to, and I'd love to. So if you ask me, like, 10, 15 years from now, is there something that, you regret you didn't put the time in for, or you just didn't attempt? And there's always things, right? But the one that comes to mind when I think about that, and I'm a bit like, I wish actually I'd paid more attention, is actually, it's very simple, it's crystals. Crystals, I have absolutely no idea of. They are completely like a whole new thing for me. They just like, I don't get it. Like when people are like, oh, I'm holding an amethyst and this is the feeling I'm getting. And I'm like, okay. But because I love astronomy, and specifically I'm going back to astronomy, I am very, very clear with, I have some thought of always the planets, how they're made, what they're composed of. They're actually motion throughout the solar system. Planets that are on other stars. I can't speak today. On other stars, like I am always fascinated, and I love it when I hear about the composition of a planet, how it's layered, how it's structured. For example, I can just get lost in like studying Neptune for like weeks. So I'm like that kind of person, and I feel like there's a connection with that and the whole crystal thing, even though I haven't figured it out yet. But if those elements from the periodic table are creating, what's out there in the solar system, they're creating little parcels of that, I think, on Earth as well. And I'm just intrigued by it. So that's my approach. I'm sure I'm going to see a crystal specialist and they'll be like, no, but I don't know. So yeah, that's my bucket list item number 2, and that's the prompt, as well. And I'm going to pick again a card from the Lightseers deck to help me kind of like work through this challenge and to help guide me, to help me see my way through. And let's see what I get. Okay, what do I get? By the way, these cards, some people don't like the smell, but I like the smell. It's really like the smell of like new cards. But anyway, what do I get for this challenge of working with crystals? I get the world. Oh, that's beautiful. So perhaps, not the wheel, I get the wheel, the world, the wheel. That's beautiful. So I'm looking at this and all I can think is right now casino chips. Maybe I shouldn't be, but so it's fortune. So the crystals are telling me something about fate, events, turn of life, turn of motion. I don't know. I have to sit with this because I'm doing this live on camera. Like I can't figure this all out right now. But this is a beautiful card. And what I'm thinking is maybe the crystals may help me with the ups and downs. Maybe they're there to help me with that emotional regulation side, which I do need assistance with. I'm someone that does need help with just emotional regulation, if anybody knows of that and they understand where that's coming from. So yeah, I find that a beautiful card, but I think I need to sit with it. But what I'm feeling right off the bat initially is that this is about the fact that this crystal journey is gonna be about me looking at my ups and downs, and not to be so scared actually. So yeah, that's a good learning for me. Okay, so prompt number 3, bit of fun here. So I've got to grab this notebook. Prompt number 3. Okay, yeah. So as somebody that loves tarot and oracle, like probably the rest of you, and books, this is one part of me which I'm kind of like, oh, I do tend to isolate, and I do tend to kind of like I lurk. I think that's the word Marine used, or Waves of Your Soul once, who's the lurker? And I like lurk, and I like hide, kind of like, I'm one of those people that like will come into the room right at the end, so I don't have to make conversation, and then I'll sit at the back and I'll be just like, I can't wait to get out of here. And it's horrible because I personally think that that's not good. I find that really unhealthy of myself. I'm always like, just get there 5 minutes early and at least say hello to people. So I really, really had to work on myself. I just want to make that really clear. I'm not great at it. But the prompt is to do something which involves the rest of the community. So either participate in a conference, either face-to-face or an event online. Because of quarantine, it might not be possible. In Belgium, we just don't have that many of these kind of like witchy or tarot kind of like symposiums or anything. But I'm someone that I find that kind of stuff even that hard, and I can see that like it would be great for me to come out of my shell. And even online now, I'm seeing like other tarot tubers, they've got courses which are just so unique, so different. And I always believe that I've never done learning, so I can always participate in one of their courses and be part of like a coven or something like that, and just listen to other people rather than it just being me and me. So yeah, so that is my prompt number 3. So prompt number 3 is some kind of an event or a gathering with our fellow, I don't know, you want to call it wizards, or I don't know, healers, light workers, shadow workers, inner child workers, art workers. I don't know how else to put it, like whatever aspect you come at with when it comes to the tarot. I'm definitely like the psychology / kind of like slightly witchy, slightly weird person, but there you go. So what is the card that's going to help me understand my energy towards this particular challenge? I've got 3 of Cups. Oh my God, I'm getting great cards. The lights is being nice to me today. So the 3 of Cups. So this is telling me that participating in things is just going to help me to celebrate, to enjoy that time, to bond with others, to look towards hope and light. I mean, like, what else can I ask? Like, this is a great card. So yeah, I'm really loving this. So I will have to journal again about these particular cards a little bit later off camera, of course, but I thought I'd just share with you what I'm finding and deal straight out of the pack myself. So thanks everybody for listening to this as well. So prompt number 4, and prompt number 4 was basically, yeah, so this is the one that I was a bit stuck with, just to be honest with you. And prompt number 4 is to fulfill a wish, and this is really, really a deep one, to fulfill a wish that I would regret if I did not do it. And I know it might be sounding a bit similar to the topic and theme, but this is a little bit different because for me, the thing is like a really big wish, honestly speaking, is to visit a place that's inspired by a deck. And that's like a real investment of time and energy again for me. You can hear here that I like to like isolate a lot, but it's really about like visiting somewhere and like going to a museum or going to an exhibit. So for example, we have here the Magritte exhibit or something like that. So it's really about just being inspired by a deck or a card, even a specific card, and going all the way to, let's say, a specific castle or a chateau, or like I mentioned, an exhibit. But for you, it could be something else. I don't know. It could be perhaps a particular landscape. You've always wanted to go to a geographical landscape destination, going, I'm inspired by this oracle deck or something like that. So it's really kind of like going into kind of like that space where we do have to plan it and make time for it. But I think it would be interesting. And for me, definitely, I'm thinking of like an exhibit, which would be great, or to visit an actual building, because I'm like a bit of a history nerd. So there you go. And so, what is the card that I'm going to be getting to help me kind of like fulfill this one? What is the card? What is the card? What is the card? Okay, and the card that I'm going to get, I have no idea. I'm just shuffling here. What is this? The Fool. I'm getting great cards today. The Fool. So it's telling me to let go, to just dive in, and to let go of all my inhibitions and like my fears and like if it doesn't work out. But also I think what this is telling me now that I think about it is that if I do this, I might also encounter people from the next stage of my journey. If I do that wish, if I do that prompt, of like visiting a place, going somewhere inspired by a deck, or a card even, so that's amazing. And strangely, because I'm looking at a pool of water right now, I'm looking at this beautiful, I don't know what you call it, like a mandala there. It's maybe telling me to go towards like an ocean place, I don't know, or a sea. Yeah, that's something for me to think about again. So so hopefully you're enjoying these prompts too. And the final prompt is, I'm just throwing out there, so how many do we do? So I have done, for example, a deck I normally didn't want to buy, a theme or a topic, an event, to fulfill a wish, and then finally prompt number 5 is, well actually, should I go for it or not? Do I extend this or not? Yeah, I'm going to push the bow out. Okay, so we're going to actually end up with 6 prompts. See, this is me doing things ad lib. So prompt number 5 will be a little bit more stable there, which is going to be gift giving, which I know sounds a bit weird, but I'm someone that likes to always like decide for myself. I want this, I want that. So I'm going to propose this. Allow yourself to swap a deck with someone else. Now, it doesn't have to be always that, you end up giving away a deck of your own. It could be that you buy one to gift to someone, but it's a bit like a secret Santa thing. But you know who you're giving it to and who you're receiving it from. But just do a deck swap with someone. Let them pick a deck for you and you pick a deck for them. Because it's a good way, again, that you might end up working with something that you're thinking, I would never have touched this, actually. I would never have bothered with this. So I'm going to propose that as number 5. And I think that's a bit of a one that I've just thrown in there. I wasn't sure about it, but I was like, let's go for it, actually. See, I'm getting wild here. So what's the energy that's going to help me, or I have to be cautious of when it comes to this specific prompt? Let's see what I get. I get, it is the Hermit. I'm getting some interesting cards. So it's telling me, perhaps, I'm just doing this off the top of my head, that the deck that I might be gifting to somebody, perhaps to think about helping them when they go inside within themselves. Perhaps it might be helpful for them as they go into a healing space, as they withdraw and they need that time to themselves. Very interesting, actually. So I need to also just journal on this. I'm going to have to go back and watch this again so I can just remember everything that I drew and so forth. But so if I'm gifting to someone, the Lightseer's deck is telling me to just bear this in mind as I buy the deck. I have some thoughts, actually, which I need to journal about on this one. So interesting pick. And so finally, actually, let's make it 6 prompts because I can. Finally, the last prompt is wildcard. Yep. This is where I allow the deck to give me the guidance. So I don't know what the question is, which is going to be strange. So I don't know if I can come up with a question on screen, but basically the card will tell me the activity or the action I need to take or what I need to look at And again, this is like a bucket list thing, right? I'm letting go. I'm letting the deck, I'm letting the tarot, because the Lightseer's deck is a deck, but ultimately it's a tarot deck, right? So I'm letting the tarot guide me in this bucket list journey and show me something that I perhaps need to do, an activity, which will come to mind probably once I start journaling and percolating on it. But the card will decide what it is, or the deck will. So what am I getting here? Hopefully it's not a repeat. It's the Emperor. Wow. So I'm getting really a vibe here about territory, but also stability, boundaries, strength. Looking at my stubbornness, this is Aries, so it's about beginnings, letting go. Again, similar to that Fool. And I'm just thinking the chess piece that he's holding, yeah, it is the King. No, is the King? I need to check. Yeah, I think that's the King. So yeah, what it is to be king of my territory. So yeah, I'm gonna have to think what the card wants me to do with this one. Actually, I'm like, and what's the actual challenge here, the activity? But it's an interesting pick. So I'm gonna write down all the prompts below, and feel free to join in. The hashtag is, if I get it right, Tarot Bucket List 2022, because it's about next year. I came up with this idea actually because I had already mentioned in a video about doing like something around goal setting, which I still think about. It's not that I've stopped doing goal setting, but I just felt a bit like heavy right now. And I just felt like a bucket list in our area, in our world, is a bit of fun, right? So maybe you'd like to join in. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for joining me this evening, and I will see you all either tomorrow for a Vlogmas or on Monday. I don't know. I'll see if I'm going to take a day off. But thank you all for joining me. Take care now. Bye.